This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social in association with Betfred at the Joe Gallagher's Gym in Bolton. I'm joined by Natasha Jonas. First of all, I think it's a long time since you've been last on the channel, but how are we?
All good, yeah, everything's good. I'm in a fight in 2 weeks that I'm looking forward to. And yeah, everyone in the gym's got a good date, and when it's like that, it's live and there's an atmosphere, you know, everyone's buzzing. So yeah, it's been a good camp and a good few weeks.
This is a little bit different, this question, because we haven't had you on the channel for such a long time. I'd like to go back to the Lionesses, because you yourself played football for quite a while as well. Just to go back, how special was that for England?
It's special for the country as a whole. I think the occasion was massive. People really enjoyed it, and what I did notice about the games, I think sometimes with the men's game, there's so much business and money involved that it's so serious. Like, you know, Liverpool lose at the weekend, it's like, oh, the league's lost, oh, this is Champions League, we're going to be... So, but when I went to the Euros, everything was fun. Everything was about just enjoying yourself the way sport should be, and men, women, children, you know, everyone was enjoying themselves, and it was a good event to be in. And obviously my sister being involved in the team as well, my little girl absolutely idolises her. Every time she was like on the ball, she was like, that's my auntie, and she just absolutely loves her. So for her to have that, you know, be part of that team, it was just such a special occasion, and you know, they did something that the male counterparts couldn't do, so it was good.
Sunday, you were sparring with Cindy Ngamba, a GB athlete now. Just tell me a little bit about that. A multi-national champion. You've certainly had some good spars for this coming fight.
Yeah, I think we always get the spars in for we've had Sarah Dunn. You know, she's tall, rangy, good on her feet, good jab. So we know that's what Berghult's like. We have Hannah Robinson in, you know, another GB. On the Team GB member, so she's again good combinations, good on her feet, moves her feet well, and then you have Cindy. Now Cindy brings everything.
Yes,
she brings power shots, she brings relentless, she brings hard work, she brings she doesn't give in. First round is like it's like she doesn't get tired. So with Cindy, you have to punch hard because you have to make her respect you. Then you have to punch. Your output is a million times what it was because she keeps on coming. So yeah, you always know that you've had when you spar Cindy, you always know that you're in for a good fight because it's nothing will be that hard.
We're getting to the business end now. Next, I think it's next Saturday. The fight against Patricia Berghult in Liverpool, in your home city. Does training sort of like get a little bit easier now? What happens this time in camp?
No, I think this is going to be the last hard week, and I know what Joe's like here. I've been through many camps with him before. This will be tough. But yeah, then the next week you kind of taper off and everything's short. Everything's about speed and, you know, coming together and stuff. So yeah, I've got another spar with Cindy on Wednesday, I think again on Saturday. And yeah, that'll be probably the end of sparring, and that's the end of camp, as in like the most physical part. And then, you know, you just do short sprints. I'll have a few pad sessions just going over tactics, and yeah, that'll be pretty much. This is the last hard week in camp anyway.
Just talk to me about how big this fight is for you. I mean, arguably, you know, you wanted the Hannah Rankin fight, but now I think she's going in with Terry Harper. But this is massive for you, this fight in Liverpool.
Yeah, I think as a, you know, if you know about boxing, I think it's probably a bigger fight. It's probably a harder fight. But I'm not in it for it to be easy. You know, she's undefeated. She's 15-0, and I want them. I want to be in them fights. You know, I want the belts as well. So Hannah Rankin will still be on the hit list after. And I want to give myself options. You know, whether to go back down or whatever. So I think that's a good way to do it. You know. And yeah, it's a good fight, and that's what I wanted. I don't want to, you know, have takeovers and you don't really get respected for them. So yeah, I just want to keep on plodding on for as many fights as I've got left in me.
She is undefeated. She's a she's a national Swedish amateur champion, a great amateur pedigree as well. What are you expecting from her as an opponent?
I do respect what she's done. Obviously, she's undefeated, and I do remember her as an amateur. Sweden as a national team were always, you know.
Did you ever box her as an amateur?
I never. I remember. I think Chantel did, and I think I've seen her fight Katie as well. She was always a 64, and I don't think she could come down to the 60 category. So
you were aware of her in the amateur scene as well?
Yeah, I do remember her. She was always neat, tidy, like good feet, good lead hand, and that's pretty much similar to what I'm expecting. I don't think she's changed that much, but obviously, you know, a bit more pro style-y, a bit more heavier shots. It takes the time a little bit, so yeah, and like I say, all my sparring partners replicate that and more.
Is it a little bit disappointing not to be part of the Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields, the all-female card at the O2? Is it a little bit disappointing not to be part of that one?
No, I think there was always a talk of being on it, especially if it was going to be Hannah Rankin as a British all-British card. But I think for me personally, it's great to fight, and for PR it would have been great to be on these cards. You potentially get lost in the Marshall and the Baumgartner and all that fight. So I think it's a great move. But to be honest, for me personally, there's just no place like home. So, you know, it's been a very long time since I've boxed in front of the people in Liverpool, and I've never been there as a champion. So I want to be there as a champion, defend my belt, make more, and, you know, go on to wherever afterwards.
Talking about that card, how big is that card? You know, we don't really like separating women's boxing and men's. It's boxing, isn't it? How big is that boxing card? You've got obviously Caroline Dubois, you've got Lauren Price and Karis Archinstall, you've obviously got the big main event, but how big or how good is that card?
I think there's everything that you want from a card. You want to see the prospects, you know, you want to see how they develop, and then you want to see the big fights, and there's not one big fight, which is what kind of happens. You have a few prospects, and then you have one big main event. You know, Mayer and Baumgartner is a huge fight too, and it helps that they've kind of got that rivalry that Sav and Clarissa have got, where it's like it's a bit tasty. You know, there's venom behind some of the things that they talk, the interactions on social media. So yeah, it's a great fight, and even though I'm not there, I think I'm going to be commentating on the fight anyway, so I'll be sitting there with my mic and in the best seat in the house, just enjoying the view like everybody else.
I was with Savannah last Wednesday at Peter Fury's gym in Congleton, and she said, well, they both said actually individually, this is the toughest camp she's ever been in. Is that what she needs to get through Clarissa Shields? Yeah,
she's going to have to, because, you know, she said, like, she has never fought anyone like her, and Sav's never fought anyone like Clarissa either. So, yeah, I'm sure Clarissa, you see, she's been putting herself through it, and I didn't expect anything else of Peter and Sav. You know, they know they're in for a tough night's work, and how easy it is depends on how good Sav is, and she needs to be at her best to be able to defeat her.
If I'm going to put a prediction on you, how do you think that one goes?
Gosh, I think Sav wins. Yeah. And I don't think it goes the distance.
Is it a bit more than a puncher versus a boxer? That's what it's been slated, that's what it's been called, but, you know, arguably Savannah's a terrific boxer as well.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, we were talking a long time ago with the 2012 Worlds, and I know it's amateurs and pros and whatever, but, you know, anyone who saw that fight or has access to that fight, it wasn't as close as Clarissa.
So you were there?
Yeah, it was our qualifier for the 2012 Olympics, so we were there. It was a very wide gap, and Savannah boxed her really well, and she was only a baby, Clarissa. She has developed a lot since then, and she's probably took a lot from that defeat, but, you know, we don't, because we see them big knockouts of Savannah's and people don't get up, we don't appreciate that, how, you know, how good she can box, because she hasn't really needed to show that. You know, she knows eventually when she lands, people aren't going to get back up. So, but when it comes to being smart and you know, boxing under pressure, I think, you know, she's got the right people in her corner.
Away from that, obviously got to get your thoughts on the big fight of the weekend, Usyk AJ. Just get your initial thoughts on that one.
Obviously from the 2012 team, and that we are really close, and I was majorly disappointed, as a lot of people were. It was a little bit sad afterwards, and you know, at the after press conference, and to see him so distraught, and I don't think that's the human side of boxing that many fans normally don't get to see. You know, we sacrifice so much, and we know that what it entails and what it takes, but I don't think sometimes people do, and it's not for everybody. And to sacrifice and give up that much and then it not go your way, it's not spoiled brat, it's not whatever, it's the, you know, it hasn't worked out, and then you're thinking of all the things that you have sacrificed, and was it, you question, was it worth it? So yeah, it was a great performance from Usyk, and as a southpaw boxer and orthodox person, you know, you try and take something. I watch the lads, even the lads in here, and think, oh, that's a good shot, I'm going to try that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's good to watch and see, and his movement was class. I thought AJ was better than the first fight, but still he couldn't get close enough to just pin him down, to unload a shot. I thought his body shots was really good as well. But yeah, Usyk's movement made that a difficult fight, and you know, if you've heard me on the back force, you say move your legs, you'll say he'll be shouting Usyk in the fight, and that's what he means. He doesn't mean I'm replicating Usyk in any way, but you know, we come up with, like, not code words, but we come up with words like there's certain things that he'll shout and I'll know what it is. But yeah, you know, just to watch that as a southpaw and appreciate the art of boxing, it was brilliant, like I do with Lomachenko, like I do with, you know, there's loads. There's who else do we use? Stevenson.
Yeah.
We used Spence, Loma, and Hagler.
It was the movement from Usyk and the way he was, you know, his feints, his head movement was fantastic, and it just offset AJ a lot of the times, and offset AJ's rhythm a lot. Yeah,
it was brilliant, and that's what, like, one of the things that, you know, Berghult is a lot bigger. I know Usyk's smaller, but Berghult's bigger, and you're gonna have to move and keep moving. She's good on her feet. She's got that bounce in her legs. She's got that, like, kind of amateur style where she's bump scoring a point and out. So yeah, that was something I was watching for Usyk, and even the way, you know, he he's constantly just moving his head, and AJ was good to the body, but he couldn't catch his head, so he had to aim for the body because his head was just moving all the time. And you know, that's something that we want to. I don't want to say replicate, because I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to be like Usyk. But you know, there's certain things that you take and you appreciate and think, right, I'll try that.
Where does he go from here? There is mentions of, you know, coming out in December again, or having long time off. Everyone's saying, look, have a break away from the sport. Some are saying, look, if you have so much time off, you only elongate the pain, come back, have a run-up fight maybe, and then obviously compete again. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think it's always great to dwell on it, but I do think it's important that you also take the time to process it and deal with the feelings, because, like I said, it's not everyone understands, and not everyone goes through what we go through. So, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But yeah, I think as well, just I don't knowing the person that he is, he definitely wouldn't want to end like that. And also, like, people say, oh, you know, he's finished. Maybe it means that we might not get to see that Fury fight, but there's still Wilder, there's still Ortiz, there's still, you know, there's still Joe Joyce, you know, there's still big names in the division that people would still want to see, big fights that we'd still want to see AJ in. So all that, oh, he's finished, is just a load of nonsense, really.
You were obviously part of that GB camp. You spent obviously a lot of time with him. How will he be coping or not coping with this in your eyes, as someone that sort of worked with him for a long time?
I think he's got a good enough team around him, and I don't mean by coaches and stuff, I'm talking about family and friends. You know, they've been with him since the start and before, so I think he's got good people that he's really close to, that, you know him, the real AJ, not the one that we see, that'll be with him. And you know, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people on the squad, like myself, like Fraser, like whoever else, Tom, I've sent him a message to say, like, you know, we hope you're okay, because...
Have you spoken to him?
I haven't spoken to him, like, one-to-one, but I have sent him a message.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, it's not someone we see all the time or whatever, but we're still close. We still got that kind of 2012 team mentality. Like I speak to Tom, you know, like I message Luke or go, you know what I mean? We'll still send each other good luck messages and stuff, so.